I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, I'm at peace with who I am. I've got an email here from a coaching client of mine. This guy I've been coaching, I guess, for a couple of years. I haven't done a session with him in probably about a year and a half. And I coached him consistently. I think I was doing like once a month with him for about a year and a half, 2 years. After he got back from Iraq. And when he first came to me, what he wanted to do is he wanted to go in law enforcement and become a police officer. And he was having a really hard time with getting into law enforcement. He was a combat wounded vet. He got the Purple Heart. And just a really interesting guy. And he diligently applied the things that I taught after he came back. He was going to school. And in the middle of the process, he decided to change his major from criminal justice to business. Because obviously as he was evolving, as I was working with him, he was starting to look at the world in a different way. And the last time that I had spoken to him, he had gotten a job kind of like in a career counseling type of role. And he was helping people because at the end of the day, that's what he really wanted to do, is he wanted to help people. He wanted to help them better themselves. And obviously going into law enforcement was potentially a way that he could do that. But when we looked at things, and I pointed out that that's what's really driving him, is that he wants to help people. Then it opened up other modalities, other jobs, other careers, other ways that he can help himself and obviously help other people in the process. And so he's literally, he's only got, looks like about a term and a half left, and then he's going to be graduating with a degree in business. And so he sent me an email as an update because he's just in a really great place. I remember when I first started working with him, he was just scared to even talk to women. And now he talks to women with a regular basis like it's not a big deal. And I say this in my book, and I've said it in numerous videos, being successful with women is not going to make you happy. It will contribute to your happiness and will help you get a big part of your life or an area of your life handled. But at the end of the day, if you're not already happy yourself, you're not going to be happy in a relationship with another person. And it's just really nice to see an email from him. And I wanted to read it to kind of go through some of the things, the place that, like, he's in a really good place emotionally in his life right now and the way he looks at things. And it's just neat when you start working with people in general, the way they look at the world. They're really worried about what other people think about them, and especially what friends and family and what other people want for them. And when you get to a place where you learn to love who you are and you learn to love your life and the lifestyle that you're creating for yourself, and you know what your goals are, your dreams are, and you start moving in that direction because they're things that please you and not so much because they please other people, it gets you to a place where you're really content and you're really happy and you're really peaceful in your life. And it's really nice. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she's like, "Well, how are things going? How's life going? What are you grateful for in your life?" And I remember one of the things I was saying is I was just so grateful my business is doing so well, and the fact that I literally can run my business from anywhere in the world as long as I have a good high-speed internet connection. And one of the things I said was like, I'm really grateful that I don't have business partners anymore, because it's like, I haven't had business partners for almost 10 years now at this point. And actually, about 10, almost exactly 10 years. And it's like when you have business partners, and I had 2 of them, it's literally like being married to 2 other people. It's like you decide, hey, you know what? I want to take $100,000 and I want to invest in this advertising campaign, or I want to get us a bigger office, or I want to buy all new computers, or I want to get new office furniture, or hire a certain type of people and start a new company or new division of the company. It's like you got to figure out, okay, how am I going to sell this to this guy, and am I going to sell it to the other guy? And the beauty of having your own business, not having any partners, is that you really can come and go as you please, and you can grow your business in whatever way that you see fit, and whatever way that you like to add value to the world. And like with what I do now, I have more freedom to be myself. It's like the business that I have totally supports my life and my lifestyle. For the most part, I like to wear sweatpants and t-shirt. Like in the summer when it's nice and warm out, I'm shorts, t-shirt, flip-flops kind of guy, and that's what I really enjoy. And what's interesting is the people that I associate with these days and that I attract into my life, they're kind of the same kind of casual, entrepreneur type of thing. The type of women that I like to date these days, the same thing. They're very relaxed. They make their own schedules, because like when you're able to make your own schedule to come and go as you please, and then you date somebody that's working for somebody else or they're an employee, they can't just blow things off and go away with you somewhere for a week or two, because they got to plan those things out. And so it's like tends to attract like in life. And so I've got a quote that I wrote before we get into his email that I want to share with you on this topic. And it says, life becomes easy and effortless once we learn to love and accept ourselves unconditionally. You should have positive expectation that your actions and efforts will eventually lead to the creation and manifestation of the life you've always dreamed of. When you are at peace with yourself, you value yourself, you love yourself, and you see yourself as a gift, you will act and speak in ways that are congruent with those truths. You will also reject and move away from circumstances and people who are not aligned with your own internal truth. You will no longer care what other people think about you or how they think you should be living your life. Why? Because you live to make yourself happy first, since you see yourself as a complete person who lacks nothing, and therefore you don't try to live your life according to other people's expectations. Besides, no one else can really know why you want what you want or your motivation and reasons why you want it. After all, it's your truth and your life. So let's go ahead and jump right into this guy's email. And he says, "Hey coach, how are you, my brother? I'm doing great, and it's great to hear from you. And thanks for the update. I'm glad I get to share this with everybody in my audience. Because there are people that are watching this that are in the same place that you once were in, and the fact that you've been able to get to a great place in your life will inspire other people that they can do the same." He continues on, "I hope all is well on your end, and I apologize for not maintaining communication." He says, "However, I have to give credit where credit is due." He says, "Corey, my life has turned out great thus far, and I owe a lot of it to your intervention and guidance. Since we last spoke, I've landed a really great job, and I was finally able to buy a house, and I'm only 23 credit hours away from my Bachelor of Arts in Business, and overall, life is good." Now listen to what he says, and this is what I'm talking about being alpha. Now being alpha is not about being an arrogant jackass and you cause people to hate you. It's actually the exact opposite. You're the type of guy that everybody likes, everybody wants to be around, and everybody looks to as the leader. Especially when you apply the things they teach, because really only about 3% of the world's men get and understand this stuff. And when you learn these things, especially like when you're in a negotiation or you're interacting with other people and you watch other men interacting with women, or they talk about their wives or their girlfriends, you can tell they don't get it. And just that in and of itself gives you an edge. It makes you feel, at least in that part of your life, that you're superior to them in a way. Not that you look down upon them, but it's just that you're better and you're more efficient in that area of your life than they are. And because of that, because of the way you carry yourself, because of the fact that when they talk about their relationships, they're talking about all their problems and their struggles and the things that they run into. And when you talk about it, you talk about how effortless, how easy, how wonderful your personal life is. And they start to be like, "Well, tell me a little bit more about that, Corey. What's that all about? How do you do that? How do you get women to respond to you in such a way?" And then all of a sudden now they're asking you questions and they're putting you on a pedestal and they're looking to you as a leader. And the word lead, at the end of the day, it means to go first. And so he says, "People at my work like and admire me." He says, well, most of them anyways, except the haters. And people that don't like you, when people hate you or they don't like you or they attack you, what's really going on at the deepest level is that you are connected to parts of yourself and your personality that they are disconnected from. In other words, if you're really successful with women and you really understand women and women like talking to you and you can interact with them and totally communicate with them, and they look at that and they just can't get that, that's going to piss them off. That's why they would dislike you, is because you're connected to that part of yourself that they're disconnected from. We tend to attack in other people what other people are good at. That's like when people attack me or they say hateful things about me or how I live my life or the type of relationships that I have. It's like, I don't really give a fuck, because all that tells me, because no one will ever do or say anything that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in a moment, all that tells me is that person is jealous, they're envious, and they perceive me to be more successful than they are. That's what's really going on with the haters. In other words, they want to be you. Either they hate themselves or they want to be like you, and they're not. And therefore, if they can demean you or put you down or put some kind of label on you that negates you in their eyes, then they feel good about themselves and the fact that they're just not living full out. They're not enjoying the kind of life and lifestyle that you're enjoying. He says, I am at peace with who I am, and I am constantly trying to better myself. I'm taking care of me, and I took the approach of having a this is me attitude, and you can take it or leave it, because I really don't give a shit. And when I first started working with this guy, he was really concerned about what other people thought. He was really concerned about seeking the approval of other people. And when you live your life from that perspective, because everything you see in the media and you see on TV, and people who are supposedly important, you're always worried about other people's feelings. Oh, I don't want to offend anybody. But the bottom line is, if you go through life living your truth and who you are, you can't help but piss people off. That's just a fact of life. Not everybody is going to like you. Not everybody's going to think you're a genius. Not everybody's meant to be your friend. Not everybody's meant to be your lover. Not everybody is meant to be your customer. And it's like one of my clients I talked to today, he's a really great guy from the UK, and I really enjoy talking with him. And every time I talk to him, I see him on my schedule, I'm like, oh, look who I'm talking to today. I'm actually excited. I'm looking forward to chatting with him. And this particular guy just had a really great success story with this woman that he's been trying to reattract for the past year, who was dating somebody else. He just had a fantastic week with her. And he's writing all that down. He's going to send me an email, and I'm going to talk about that in the very near future. It's going to be a great video, and you're going to see exactly what he did right and what he did wrong, so you can see that, because everybody learns. That's why I talk about so many stories from my own life and why I share these emails, because everybody can relate to other people's stories and what they're going through, and that's the most effective way to teach, is in storytelling format. That's why I use a lot of examples in my book and in my videos. He says, I still have not found the woman of my dreams yet, but I know it'll come eventually, and I'm not worried about it. And at the end of the day, my perspective on that is that it's like, if anybody that's watching this video right now, if you have not been in an exclusive relationship with somebody who knocks your fucking socks off, where you're totally head over heels gonzo in love, and they feel the exact same way, and you date someone like that for many years, you have truly not experienced what love is all about. You truly have not experienced the depth of how amazing a relationship could be. But just because you have that great experience and that great connection doesn't mean that you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with that person. Even though society teaches that when you have that kind of a connection, you have to hold on to it for dear life, forever and ever. It's just simply not like that in life. Sometimes your goals and your values, maybe they're aligned when you meet, but over the years, you either grow together or you grow apart. And that's okay. That's part of life. It's like I was talking about in yesterday's video. Life is change. And when we try to hold on to life and we try to keep life together in the way it is right now, we're going to suffer. Because when we try to hold on to people or circumstances or a job or a career or a business, and life is moving in a way that's going to cause the destruction or dissolution of that business or that relationship or that circumstance, if you try to hold on to that, you're going to suffer. Because what's going on is reality is changing, and you don't want reality to change. You want it to be other than it is, but life moves on regardless. There's not a damn thing. It's like a thunderstorm shows up. How much sense does it make to go stand out in the rain and look up the rain and cuss and curse and say, God damn it, I wish this rain would go away. This is bullshit. You're still going to get fucking wet. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. At that moment, you're literally kind of swimming upstream. You're trying to swim against the current instead of just going with the flow of life. Because that's the beauty of life, is to experience it and to experience as much of it as you possibly can. Because when you want something in life, you're going to have a concept of what it's going to be like to have it or to experience whatever it is that you want to experience. And then when you actually start experiencing it, you're going to get feedback. You're going to get results. It's just like a business. You run an advertising campaign. You have an idea of what the results are going to be like. But when you actually run that campaign, then you see the feedback and you see results. And based upon the results, you notice what's working and you also notice what's not working. And then you change and you modify your approach. That's what life is all about. Life is change. And like I was saying yesterday, the more comfortable you can become with change and life not staying the same, the happier you're going to be, and the more you can experience things, and the more you're going to be in the flow of life, and the more effortless it's going to be. But the more you try to hold on to things and keep them the same, the more you're going to suffer, and the more life is going to be a struggle for you. And that's just a fact. That is the way it is. He continues on, what is important is that I am able to approach, and I love what he says. He says, what's important is that I am able to approach and communicate effectively with women now. I use the techniques that you teach, and I am able to detect if a woman has interest in me or not. And if she does, how to act accordingly. And this is another thing. This is one of the reasons why I have so many ex-girlfriends that are still in my life. They still love me and they still appreciate me. Even though some of them may be married or they're in relationships with other people, we still have a deep bond and a deep friendship. And that says a lot about my ability to have great relationships with women. Because these are the kinds of things, if your exes can say, oh, he's a fucking awesome guy. I learned so much by being with him. He's an awesome man. Even though we're not together, I still love him. And he's a gift and blessing in my life. When women can say those kinds of things about you, then you fucking arrived. Listen to what women say about him. He says, dude, a few of the women I have dated in the past have even thanked me for being different from the other idiots they have dated. In other words, you will be a breath of fresh air. Even if it doesn't work out long term, they're going to walk away from that experience a better person, a better human being because of you. And that's a testament to your own personal character and your own ability to experience and interact with the members of the opposite sex in a healthy way. That even causes them to have a positive perception of you even when you're no longer together. He says, Corey, without your intervention and taking the time and investing your knowledge to better myself, God only knows where I'd be. People constantly tell me that I have a confident air about me. A lot of guys ask me for advice, and I pretty much regurgitate everything you taught me. There are a few that I've referred to you, but when I show them your book, they tell me the stuff is common sense. So I say, cool, keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully it'll work for you. And he says, dumbasses. He says, I think it's their pride. Well, men tend to be very egocentric. And remember, we want to feel successful, and obviously admitting that you're not successful with women, because I know when I used to be in that place, I was embarrassed as fuck about it. I was really insecure, and some of my friends that were good with women, they were always busting my balls about it. And I fucking hated it. He says they'll come around after they've been through the grinder a bit, just like I did. He says, anyways, thanks again for your guidance. I've been wanting to email you, and I really have no excuse. Thanks for being a great life coach and friend, and I hope to hear from you soon. Well, good job, dude. I'm very proud of you, and thanks again for your service and serving in our armed forces in the Army, as a matter of fact. So go Army, brother. And thanks again for everything you've done for us. I'm always going to be eternally grateful to you for the fact that you have served our country. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. And you can choose any of those options by going to my website and clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whatever option is preferable to you. And I will talk to you soon.